Hello, welcome everyone. Hope everyone is doing great today. I'm your host Karam and welcome to another episode of Stats of the Day show. Every Saturday evening we are live analyzing the Saturday matches. 5 matches today. Quite interesting ones. Lots of goals. So let's have a look. Let's see. I have already started the poll, so feel free to join and vote. Question of today is, which player had the most goal attempts today? Is it Haaland, Alvarez, Madison, or Rodrigo? So let us know what you think. And in the meantime, I'd like to welcome everyone in the stream here. Let me know, how are you doing, guys? How many points you've got? Asif, welcome. Linford, Steven, Shilly, welcome everyone. Rodiro Stat, what is 180% ownership? 100% is all and everyone. Well, not necessarily. I mean, the 180 effective ownership, that includes the players that you own and the captaincy. So when you captain someone, it counts 2 for you. So say a player is owned by 100% of the sample, everyone is captaining him, that's 200%. So in Haaland's case, you would guess that almost everyone has him and 80% captain him. It could be a little bit less than 100% because maybe some have sold him because of the unpredictability of him starting or so. But overall, 180%, that means that there are people captain this player a lot. Maybe few triple captain him, not necessarily this week, but in a principle, it also includes the triple captain, and you are counted 3 instead of 1. Right, so that's a bit of the effective ownership. Hope everyone has managed to make the move today. I was extremely lucky this week that I have done it just like seconds before the crash. I was on the other side last week where I could not do it. So hope everyone has managed to make the transfer. And I see here some, just 1 second, there's some pop-ups here. So I'll just close the WhatsApp here. Yeah, all good. So how many points you are on, guys? And yeah, let me know if you had a great game week. Okay, in a second I will close the poll. So again, which player had the most goal attempts today? Rodrigo, Madison, Haaland, and Alvarez. I see 0% for Alvarez. Okay, Rodrigo and Madison very close. It might be one of those two indeed. Is a single digit points any good? I mean, look, no one has scored 50, right? And if you have a lot of players playing tomorrow, then single digits is not extremely bad. I'm on 29 before bonus points. Managed to get KDB in for hit and captain, and kept Haaland. So that made a bit of a difference. The 93rd minute drama had a lot of points. I didn't realize that myself had 5 players in that Man City Fulham game. I had to live with Andreas as a first stop initially. I started Mitrovic, but luckily he will be coming on. Alright, so I'll end the poll, and the results we have: Rodrigo 44%, Madison 44%. I didn't know that they are even. I would have given it another 10 seconds or so. Haaland 6% and Alvarez only 3%. Alright, so the right answer is, you guessed it, 44% of you guessed it, it's Madison with 8 goal attempts today. It was really top performance from Madison. And overall, Leicester looked very solid. Castan, my hero, my legend, has been very close in a couple of occasions from retaining some attacking points. Daka had 4 goal attempts, one of the highest numbers in this set of matches today. Rodrigo was slightly behind. I will show you in the table when we come to the strikers, but he had also a good game. And Haaland had 4 goal attempts, although he came in for 32 minutes, and Alvarez with 3. So, well done everyone. Okay, let's start with the Matchday Report. 5 matches, let's have a look. Okay, so loads of goals today. 0 clean sheets, so we will not talk too much about the defenders or goalkeepers, apart from a certain one. Well, actually, Leicester kept a clean sheet, so how did I forget that? Sorry, Castagna. Leeds United, big match against Bournemouth, 4-3. Really great match. In terms of FPL, probably it wouldn't be one of those games where you would look thoroughly into it from an FPL standpoint. Some of us have already Solanke. Solanke has had a goal from an XGI of 0.25, not the highest. Solanke keeps returning. The rest doesn't matter apparently. So he had some games where statistically he was really good, and some other games where he accumulates something like this, a quarter of a goal, and he manages to get a couple of assists or a goal. So, I mean, for his price, is really solid, right? What would you expect from him? I had to field him today. Well, I would have probably fielded him anyway, but in my situation, I didn't find players. I had Emerson, and I had Doherty, who, even if he plays, I wouldn't start him against Liverpool anyway. So Solanke, very decent, very solid. I will have a short comparison with Moore, the other striker from Bournemouth. Maybe food for thought, not for next game, because you have 1 transfer left until the World Cup break, but maybe in the future. So Tavernier, wow. A goal and 2 assists from an XGI of just 0.47. On the other side from Leeds, Rodrigo, a total XGI of nearly a goal. And of course, you have to take into account that there's a penalty there, so that takes up a high percentage of that ratio. Somerville with an XGI of 0.62. And he managed to score a goal. Somerville, I think he's 4.4, right? The only issue with him, yeah, Neil, he's returning every game week. He's good punt for Spurs, maybe. And I think he will start the next game. But as soon as Sinistera comes back from injury, which will be after the World Cup, I think he returns his place. So I wouldn't get too excited about Somerville as an option for after the unlimited transfers, after the break. But for the next game week, I don't know if I would even take a punt on him for Spurs. If you really have no issues whatsoever, maybe. But I'm different. I'm sure you will have some more interesting transfer. But it's something to point out and to keep an eye on, right? Manchester City, a late win against Fulham. We had to do it the hard way, right? Credit to Fulham for a great game, and Cancelo didn't help with a red card. Effective ownership of around 70%, I believe. So probably everyone got impacted by the red card, and that reflected in FPL. If you've punted on Alvarez or on De Bruyne, you could have probably expected a bit more. But at the end of the day, Alvarez 9-pointer, very decent for a punt. Haaland came on the bench. If you were one of those that you plan to sell Haaland because he's not starting, and the site crashed, and he wasn't in the 11, you are lucky still, right? You didn't make the move, but you got lucky that you kept Haaland, and probably he's gonna be fit for the next 2 games against Chelsea midweek and Brentford. Whether he starts that one, I'll take it game by game, and I'm gonna post my predicted team on Friday. So great from Haaland. coming back from injury. He is again top for XGI, even if he plays half an hour. Take into account the penalty, of course, but still, if you exclude the penalty, and when you list in this match, he comes third after De Bruyne and Alvarez. Actually, he's second before Alvarez. So De Bruyne, Haaland, and then Alvarez for expected goals non-penalty. And he also the goal that was disallowed as well. So he had the chances. He looked very sharp. I think he sounded like a bit tired after the match, which put question marks about the minutes against Chelsea, but that's for a different story. But yeah, great to have him back. De Bruyne, what a guy. 5 chances created, total AGI of 0.86. He won the penalty that converted into the second goal, and he got the assist for that and pushed him towards 2 bonus points. So happy days. Alvarez was a decent punt for those who went for it. An AGI of 0.57. He looked very good, and he scored the goal. Really good goal. He smashed it literally in the middle of the goal. Pereira, we kind of a bit lucky because we've never had the experience, I think, when Mitrovic is out, who's taking the penalties, and it could be really Harry Wilson or Willian or so, but Pereira stepping up and converting the penalty, which pretty much is his XGI. He didn't have any sort of assist potential, 0, but he managed to get 6 points, so that's, I think, more than enough. Nottingham Forest and Brentford, a draw, 2 goals each. Gibbs White with 7 goal attempts. He is second this game week after James Maddison. He managed to score the goal. Brennan Johnson with an XGI of 0.36, and Buemo from Brentford and Wesa. 2 options that we talked about pre-season. We never had a chance. I mean, we didn't have a chance to buy him or own him in FPL. It was pretty much about Tony, right? But when Tony was out, Buemo stepped in and he managed an HGI of 1.21, the highest in this game. And then Wesa, he managed to get a goal, accumulated an HGI of 0.53. 2 more matches. Sorry, 2 more matches. Let's have a look at them. Okay, before I move on to the other 2 matches, FPL Spartans is asking, how was Foden when he came on? I mean, he looked alright. I don't think he did something really magical, but on the other hand, I was not impressed by Grealish. So in that sense, maybe Foden has a chance for Brentford game. Obviously, I'm more interested now to see which team we line up against Chelsea, and then we assess after that. Haaland captainers got very lucky, to be honest. Well, yeah, this sort of luck, I don't know how to put that. The side crashed on everyone. So some had players on the bench, some had the captains on Haaland. So it has been a mess, to be honest. So there are people got advantage from it, and some people who did not get any, didn't even make their moves. So yeah, but not the biggest problem, right? 5 points in the end. If you captain De Bruyne, you outscored him. If you have a captain tomorrow, it's just 1 return. But yeah, I mean, if everyone had a chance to do the transfer or the move, probably we wouldn't have been seeing 160% ownership, that's for sure. Right, so moving on to the other 2 matches. Wolves against Brighton. Neves scored a goal from an HGI of 0.9. Deitch, a goal from an HGI of 0.23. Not much other than that from Brighton. Brighton have don't have particular players. You don't have talisman. You feel like every game week someone steps up. The last couple of game weeks it was Trossard. The one before was Solimarch, McAllister. This game week now it's Lallana. So it tends to put you into a bit of a confusion which players you own. But I think there are two players that are closest to be the ones that you wanna own if you want a midfielder from Brighton. Solimarch has accumulated an XGI of 0.73. Lallana a goal and assist from an XGI of 0.64. Notice that March has been the highest in terms of involvement from a Brighton without any return, so he's kind of underperformed today. And McAllister had 5 goal attempts. McAllister is also on penalties, which leaves me to say that probably McAllister or Trossard are the best options if you look for someone. You will get that consistency of points, of stats, and so on. Not that much from Lallana. March has been decent as well. So I actually put 3 players, and yeah, it's gonna be a very close call if you look for a Brighton midfielder. And last game of today is Everton against Leicester. I had my eyes on Calvert-Lewin for the last couple of game weeks. You know that he's been putting some okay stats, not decent, but after coming back from injuries, getting more minutes, and so he had a good game today. He had 3 goal attempts. He had an XGI of 0.64. He was close to score a goal. He was lined up for me to punt on him against Bournemouth next week from Mitrovic, only for him to get injured. So I'm not sure what the extent of the injury or how bad it is. If someone heard any comments, let us know in the chat. But probably I will look somewhere else if he's a major doubt. As of Leicester, Maddison had one of his best games in the season, I think. 8 goal attempts, an XGI of 0.85, and he managed to get 2 assists and 3 bonus points. And Harvey Barnes on the 88th minute, he manages to score a goal from an XGI of 0. Well, he accumulated a total of XGI 0.83, so just under a goal, and that mostly from his XG. He didn't have much in the XA, he was more towards the XG today, so that's something to notice. Spartans, okay, it's McAllister. Okay, McAllister. I don't think I was far away from that, but thank you very much for pointing out. It's always important to pronounce the names of the players correctly. And yeah, so this is for the 5 matches of today. Let's have a deeper look at positions, and let's start with the goalkeepers. Alright, so we will not spend too much time here, I would assume, because there are not many clean sheets, only Danny Ward, who seems to be a prime Oliver Kahn. It's funny how things changed during the season, from Danny Ward being one of the most or one of the worst goalkeepers in terms of XG prevented, conceding goals, and etc. To Danny Ward now, who is barely conceding. What is it like? 4 clean sheets in the last 5 or 6 matches? That's unreal. If you kept him and you kept starting him, then you deserve that. Very well done. So Danny Ward had 2 saves. He didn't manage to get a save point, but more importantly, it was the clean sheet there. From the list, you will notice Pickford had 6 saves today, and conceded 3 big chances during this match, which shows like the Everton defense is leaking. I thought in some occasions Tarkowski was really good, but it seems the quantity of the chances they are getting are still high. So I wouldn't worry about Solanke, about starting Solanke against Everton. I think he can get something right. Raya had 5 saves as well, but he conceded 2 goals as well. But at least he managed to get a save point. Same thing for Josesa, no big points, only the save point. And if you look at the most underperforming goalkeepers, Millier with an XG prevented of -1.4, he conceded almost a goal and a half more than what he should. That's the literal translation of this XG, but it shows that Millier could have saved a couple of chances. Travers, you can't blame him too much. I mean, the same thing. He managed to get a one save, an XG prevented of a -1.4. So it's pretty much the same as Millier. Both goalkeepers didn't have a good game today. So that's it. Let's move on to defenders. All right. So you will not see this every week, but Mifam is top for defenders, top for HGI across the defenders. Total HGI of a 0.59, mostly coming in from assist potential. He created a big chance today. And then my man, Timothy Castan, 3 chances created, and the total HGI of 0.53. So there were a few chances, 3 chances, but the quality of them were not high enough to push the HGI to a high number. But still, he comes in a second across defenders from the 5 matches from the 10 teams that have played today. So still very decent. Every week, if you watch the show, you will see Castan always top of the list, which is really nice for a 4.6 defender. I have posted something on Twitter about his series of points, and the last 8 matches I started him in 6 and I benched him in 2 because he was playing Man City and some other team, and in the 6 matches that I started him, he got a 12, 7, 6, 6, 8, and today another 6 points. So if you had him from the beginning, then he's probably one of the best players that you've owned this season by far, away from Haaland. So yeah, he's only 6.7%, and I think next game week against West Ham, I'm not sure if he will get something, but let's see how West Ham blocks tomorrow, and we can see if we start him again. Webster, Akanji, Cooper, Williams, Tarkowski are on the list as well. Not a huge numbers from them, but it's interesting to see them here. Akanji had a kind of a chance, a shot on target, and another off target. So yeah, he had a couple of chances, but not much apart from that. Now let's move on to midfielders. Okay, so before we move on, please make sure you like and subscribe, and let us know if you are enjoying the show. As of midfielders, Rodrigo has accumulated the highest HGI for today, just a shy of a goal, 3 goal attempts, 1 on target, including the penalty. So we have to say also that a high percentage of this HGI is coming from the penalty. De Bruyne, 5 chances created, 2 big chances created, 2 goal attempts. He's been really focal to the team today, as always. Most of his HGI coming from the assist potential. He had an assist to Haaland, which was disallowed for an offside. Brilliant game from him. And if you've punted on him to replace Salah a few game weeks ago, or if you had, in my case, I had Son and I had to look for alternatives, De Bruyne was really, good move. Maddison, we sold him after the suspension, and we never bought him back, and he is like he never left. So 4 chances created, 1 big chance created, 8 goal attempts, and the total XGI of 0.85. Comes next Harvey Barnes with 5 goal attempts and XGI of 0.83. And then you look at the list, you will see Pereira, Gibbs White, Ayubi one more time, He's always in the top of the list for midfielders. A total AGI for Ayubi is 0.64. Total chances created 3, and total goal attempts 3. If you look for a midfielder against Bournemouth, then I think Ayubi is by far the best. Let me just get rid of this. I think I've done it. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, Ayubi is by far the best player from Everton. Of course, not many options anyway. But for his price, if you look for a punt at 5.6 now, I think he's a very decent option. Somerville, for chances created, a total AGI of 0.62, and then Tavernier with from Bournemouth with 2 chances created and 2 shots on target as well. So big game, nice top performance from the lads here. And now let's move on to forwards. Okay, Buemo tops the list for total AGI 1.21. It was mixed, so that's really nice about the strikers or midfielders, is to get a mix between the goals and an assist, because you increase the odds of getting some points. Buemo had an XA of 0.38, so that's the expected assist, and then XG of 0.83. Makes it a total to 1.21. And then comes Haaland, Calvert-Lewin, and Alvarez. And I marked these 3 because especially Calvert-Lewin, if he is fit, I think he's very nice punt for next game week. 3 goal attempts today, as we mentioned. A total AGI of 0.64 comes just behind Buemo and Haaland. And he faces Bournemouth next week. Julian Alvarez had a decent game as well. Total AGI of 0.57 at 6 million only. So really nice. I'm not sure now what the owners will do with Alvarez by next game week, because Haaland is fit, but how fit he is, what's the plan between the cup game and the weekend, and then afterwards the World Cup, where Haaland pretty much doesn't have to do anything after that. He gets a rest. Alvarez, I believe he is called already up for the Argentinian national team. So is he gonna play the cup and get a rest for the Brentford game? Is it gonna be the other way around? Is it gonna be both of them playing? So we cannot tell now. But I think nice 9 points for Alvarez owners. But it might be a decision time for them during the week to make a decision on what to do with them. Here is the interesting part. I want to speak really quick about Moore against Solanke. So both of them had just 1 goal attempts and 1 shot on target and all of that. But Moore seemed to be getting a higher XGI over the last couple of game weeks. So for today, he got an HGI of a 0.54, and Solanke got only 0.25. Now, Moore is slightly cheaper. I'm just pointing out this comparison for you in the future when you build a wild card during the World Cup. Maybe you'll be in a situation where you will have to compare between the two. Of course, for now, Solanke is getting the returns, Moore is not. Could be in a slight of change of formation, maybe More drops to the bench, but at least his stats are as good, if not sometimes better than Solanke, which is very interesting. Daka, he had a good game like the Leicester lads. 4 goal attempts, 2 shots on target, a total HGI of 0.53. He did not get a return, and his issue will always be the minutes, right? Because he's swapping the minutes with Vardy mainly. He could sometimes get minutes from Iheanacho. So X minutes is a big issue for Daka. Sam Greenwood from Leeds, he's 4.2. Now, if you had him all this time for whatever reason, and he's coming in for you for Mitrovic, then please let us know, because that's That's the day you need him. That's the day you need a sub striker to come in for you. A 3 goal attempts for Greenwood. He came on as a sub, and he managed only HGI of 0.28. It was 3 goal attempts, 1 shot on target, and he managed to get a goal and an assist. So it was way over performance. But if you owned him, then you must be happy with the points. I'm not sure, but let us know in the comment section if you own Greenwood or if he's coming on for you off the bench. So that's with regards to the forwards, and that's it for the show. If you have, guys, any questions, I'm happy to take a couple of them before we end the stream. Haaland plays next Saturday, and he will not play during the week. Harry Dawson. I have a feeling that this is what's gonna happen. Now, there are 2 things I want to mention here. First, in the interview post-match, Haaland looked very tired, which is strange because he only played 32 minutes. But is he not match fit? Is he still struggling with the injury? And Alvarez has played already 3 matches, right? And this was gonna be the 4th match against Chelsea. So is that still doable? So I'm not sure. It's really 50-50 between Haaland and Alvarez. Might not captain. I guess you mean Haaland next week. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna leave this captaincy thing to the other show about the captaincy. Things will develop during the week, so we will see. At the moment, I have it on Haaland, but I'm happy to switch to De Bruyne again if I get a feeling that he's not gonna start, or he will get reduced minutes. Yeah, Calvert-Lewin. Yeah, the expectations from Calvert-Lewin, I think it was not massive, right? I think he was always gonna be a punt, especially with 2 game weeks left. And I think this game week, if you bought him, you are unfortunate because in himself he played a good game, but it's like a last man. He got injured. And next game week is a great game week, so it's unfortunate. Things happen in FPL, right? You always buy a player and some of them end up injured during the game or even before. Any Cancelo replacement? Best Cancelo replacement is Cancelo. The suspension is for 1 game and it will be midweek against Chelsea. So he will be available in Brentford. That's why you don't see him flagged in the game, because he's available, he can play. Question is Pep disappointed from him to the point where he might drop him and start Gomez? He has been very, very good, and he played in really lot of matches, and it's really hard to drop him, but you know Pep, he can do it. So it's something to keep an eye on. So yeah, I would keep Cancelo. I would keep Cancelo, especially if you have other fires to put out. Right, so that's it. Thank you everyone for coming on to the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and good luck for the matches tomorrow. I will be checking in with you again next week before the break during the World Cup. Until then, take care everyone, and see you next time.